Just a few decades ago, Chinese cars were perceived as cheap copies of Western models, but times have changed. Today, China has not only caught up with the world's leading car manufacturers, it has begun to surpass them. And one of the main examples of this revolution is the YangWang Q8, a car that has made engineers from the United States reconsider their views on the future of transportation. Its main feature is the revolutionary system of maneuvering and power transmission between the wheels, which allows the car to adapt to any road conditions. Imagine a car that literally senses the surface beneath it, instantly redistributes traction, and hardly loses grip even on bare ice or in desert sands. Such technologies were first used only in expensive sports cars, but the Chinese have introduced them into the mass market. The Chinese car market no longer copies the West. It is surpassing it, creating innovations that until recently seemed like science fiction. American engineers, after seeing the YangWang Q8 in action, admitted, "We never even thought that this was possible." Today, it is Chinese cars that are setting trends, leaving behind the notion of China as a country of imitators. One of the symbols of this change has been the company NIO, which in record time not only entered the international market but also became a serious competitor to Tesla. The company's latest development, the ET9 model, proves that China is no longer catching up. It is leading. This car combines the power of a supercar, smart technologies, and ease of handling, which was previously only found in premium models. The NIO ET9 is not just an electric car, but a true monster on wheels. Acceleration to 60 miles per hour takes less than 3 seconds, and the control system distributes power so that the driver feels completely confident on the road in any conditions. The battery swapping system is of particular interest. Instead of waiting for a charge, the driver simply drives to a special station, and a robotic mechanism replaces the battery in just a few minutes. This completely changes the perception of electric vehicles, making them just as convenient as traditional internal combustion engine vehicles. China is not just developing new car models, it is redefining the very concept of urban transportation. In megacities, where traffic jams have become an integral part of life, Chinese engineers have proposed a radical solution. Their answer is hybrid transportation systems that combine the capabilities of buses, trams, and autonomous driving. One of the most striking examples is the smart trambus, capable of moving along dedicated lanes to bypass traffic jams, while also using regular roads when necessary. This transport does not require tracks. It navigates using sensors that allow it to follow the route precisely, as if it were moving on actual tracks. This concept addresses several problems at once. Firstly, it eliminates traffic jams, as transportation systems adapt in real time. Secondly, it reduces the load on roads by decreasing the number of personal vehicles. And most importantly, it makes trips faster and more convenient. If such systems are widely implemented, traditional buses and trams will become obsolete forever. China has once again taken a step ahead. While some countries are betting on traditional cars and public transport, China is rethinking the very concept of personal mobility. The new devices for movement are not just convenient, they change the entire approach to urban transportation, offering compact, maneuverable, and eco-friendly solutions for those who want to move quickly and without traffic jams. One of the most astonishing examples is the Xiaomi SIG Drift W1 Drift rollers. These are small motorized platforms that attach directly to the feet, allowing the user to move freely around the city. Thanks to precise sensors and powerful electric motors, these devices provide excellent stability, high speed, and the ability to perform complex maneuvers, literally gliding through the streets. Another equally impressive invention is the InMotion Adventure V14 electric unicycle. This is a compact wheel with a built-in gyroscope that allows it to accelerate to several dozen miles per hour while maintaining full balance without the rider's involvement. The user can easily control the movement by simply changing the tilt of their body, and the stabilization system makes the ride as smooth and safe as possible. The Chinese are confident that the future lies in individual mobility. Instead of getting stuck in traffic jams or relying on public transport schedules, such devices allow you to reach your destination instantly while taking up minimal space on the streets. Africa is beginning to develop hydrogen technologies, and although it's too early to talk about a complete transportation revolution, the first steps in this direction have already been taken. Some countries, such as South Africa and Morocco, are actively implementing green hydrogen as a promising fuel of the future. In South Africa, Programs like Hydrogen South Africa, HISA, are being implemented, along with initiatives to create a hydrogen valley, which is expected to become a hub for the production and distribution of environmentally friendly hydrogen. Hydrogen technologies are being applied not only in energy but also in transportation. One example is the hydrogen fuel cell truck by Anglo American, which is already being tested at the country's mines. The main advantage of hydrogen transportation is its high autonomy and quick refueling. Unlike electric vehicles, which require hours to charge, hydrogen cars can be refueled in just a few minutes, and their range significantly exceeds that of traditional electric cars. However, experts note that the eco-friendliness of such vehicles depends on the method of hydrogen production. If it is produced using fossil sources, its carbon footprint can be significant. That's why the main focus is on the development of green hydrogen, which is produced using renewable energy sources, such as solar and wind. Despite its high potential, the widespread adoption of hydrogen transport in Africa is currently hindered by several barriers. Building the infrastructure requires significant investments, and hydrogen engine technologies remain expensive for the mass market. However, countries with abundant solar resources could become global centers for hydrogen production, and in the long term, Africa could become a key player in this market. If Africa can effectively deploy a hydrogen economy, it will set a new standard for eco-friendly transport, capable of challenging even the largest global car manufacturers. China is confidently taking the lead in the development of autonomous driving technologies. And these are no longer just concepts. On the country's roads, you can actually see cars that drive themselves. However, despite the impressive achievements, it's still too early to talk about the full-scale implementation of fully autonomous transport. One of the main factors in China's success in this area has been strong government support. Unlike the US and Europe, where the implementation of autopilots faces legislative barriers, in China, testing of driverless cars is allowed on real roads in several major cities. Companies Baidu and Pony AI have already launched autonomous taxis operating in Beijing, Shenzhen, and Shanghai. These vehicles truly move without drivers, but their movement is limited to specially equipped zones where the infrastructure is adapted for autonomous control. Another important component of China's success has been the development of smart cities, where traffic lights, cameras, and road sensors transmit data to driverless cars in real time. Such a system allows autopilots to reduce the risk of accidents and more effectively analyze the traffic situation. However, the widespread implementation of fully autonomous vehicles is still in the testing phase. Leading Chinese automakers, such as NIO and XPeng, are actively developing partial automation systems. However, technologies that allow cars to operate without human intervention in any conditions are still undergoing testing. According to the Chinese government's forecasts, by 2025, about half of the cars sold in the country will be equipped with partial autopilot features. Fully autonomous transport, which can drive without human involvement on all roads, may only become a reality in a few years. But whether the Chinese can truly be the first to release fully autonomous vehicles into mass production remains an open question. Flying transport has long remained a fantasy, but today China and Africa are actively working to make it a part of everyday life. While discussions about safety and legislative barriers continue in the US and Europe, Chinese engineers are already testing the first prototypes, and African companies are preparing to launch air taxis in the coming years. One of the most ambitious projects has been the XPeng Aero HT, a flying car that combines the functions of a drone and a classic vehicle. This vehicle is capable of vertical takeoff and can travel through the air for distances up to 500 kilometers, while remaining convenient for urban use. In China, special test centers have already been opened where engineers are working on control systems, flight safety, and the integration of such vehicles into urban infrastructure. According to forecasts, mass production of the first serial models will begin in the 2000s, in the years 2025 to 2026. Africa is betting on air taxis, which could become a key solution to transportation problems in remote areas. Kenya Airways has already announced plans to launch the first electric air taxis through its subsidiary Fahari Aviation. These vehicles will be eco-friendly, cost-effective, and capable of significantly reducing travel time, offering a new level of mobility for cities with congested road infrastructure. Despite the promising nature of the technology, there are a number of challenges that need to be addressed before mass implementation. Flying cars require developed infrastructure, including special takeoff and landing sites, air traffic management systems, and new laws regulating their operation. Additionally, the safety and reliability of flights remain priority tasks for engineers and regulatory bodies. Nevertheless, China and Africa are already doing what seemed impossible just a few years ago. While in most countries drones are used for filming and delivering goods, in China they are already saving lives. In remote areas where hospitals are hundreds of miles away and roads are practically non-existent, unmanned aerial vehicles have become a true revolution in healthcare. In China, the government is actively developing medical logistics systems, using drones to deliver donor blood, vaccines, and medications to remote villages and mountainous regions. These devices, equipped with an autonomous control system, can cover vast distances in just a few minutes, reducing the transportation time of vital drugs from several hours to 20 to 30 minutes. In Africa, the situation is even more complicated. Many settlements are completely cut off from medical assistance, and delivering medications by traditional transport takes too much time. Therefore, countries like Rwanda and Ghana have implemented a system of medical drones that regularly deliver antibiotics, antidotes, and vaccines. The most well-known project is Zipline. It has already managed to save thousands of lives, turning drones into an integral part of the healthcare system. The availability of transportation is one of the key issues faced by millions of people around the world. China and Africa, understanding the importance of this issue, are actively working on developing innovative solutions that could simplify transportation for everyone, including people with disabilities. Although these technologies are still in the implementation stage, they are already generating significant interest among engineers worldwide. In China, active development of intelligent transportation systems is underway, making driving as convenient as possible. Some prototypes already allow the use of voice commands and elements of artificial intelligence to assist drivers with limited mobility. However, such systems have not yet been widely implemented and remain at the testing and local application stage. Nevertheless, the integration of transportation into smart cities gives hope that truly convenient and accessible vehicles will appear in the coming years. For all categories of citizens, in Africa, the issue of transportation accessibility is particularly acute. In several countries, local initiatives are being implemented to create ultra-cheap cars that could make transportation more accessible for people with low incomes. Some projects offer adaptive designs that allow cars to be modified to meet the driver's needs, for example, by replacing standard steering with manual controls or adding additional automated features. Although it is too early to say that China and Africa are ahead of the US in terms of affordable transportation, they offer unique and innovative solutions that could significantly impact the future of the automotive industry. Unlike Western countries, where much depends on complex regulations, China and Africa are experimenting with new formats, creating promising technologies that could become the global standard in the future.